Hi, welcome to my channel where I talk about different topics and give social commentary. Today I will be yapping about health tourism. Now, before we get started, I do want to get into our verse of the day, which is a bit of a custom around here. Our verse for today is Proverbs 3, verse 27. Do not withhold good from those whom it is due, when it is in the power of your hands to give it. So today we're going to be talking about health tourism. You might be wondering, Samantha, what is health tourism? Well, health tourism is when you travel to another country, possibly on a trip, and while you are on that trip, you go and get medical needs taken care of. Now, there are some health tourism trips that are solely done for medical needs, such as traveling to another country to have a important surgery or even to give birth to a child. And there are other health tourisms where maybe you're traveling to another country and you already plan to go there for a trip, and you decide, you know what, while I'm in this country, I'm gonna also go to a dentist and eye exam and just do all these other exams while I'm in this country. Now, I'm gonna show you guys the video that inspired this video. Here it is.
I flew to Turkey to get the most in-depth checkup of my life, and it was the greatest thing I've ever done for my health and my bank account. Doing this in the US would have cost me thousands and taken months to line up, but in one day, we're doing it all. Scans, tests, meetings with specialists, and the price of everything is jaw-dropping. I'm here at the fanciest hospital I've ever seen with a list of mysterious ailments to get to the bottom of, so let's go. I was met by Sam, my amazing translator slash coordinator for the day. First thing you'll do is get your blood drawn so they can start running tests. You'll also do an EKG, they'll take your blood pressure, height, and weight. And now we're off to radiology for a chest x-ray and an abdominal ultrasound. We also did a thyroid ultrasound and some more tests, and then we went over to nuclear medicine and did a bone density scan. How amazing is that? Next, you'll break for lunch, and they've really taken hospital food to a whole other level here. They actually brought in a popular Turkish restaurant to handle all the meals, and patients can literally order it to be delivered to their rooms. It's unreal. I did a lot of research for this trip and ended up choosing a Memorial Group hospital because they're accredited by the Joint Commission International, and I have never seen a hospital with so many amazing reviews. Now it's time to meet with the internal medicine doctor and go over my test results. I was trying to play it cool, but I was nervous. We went over one by one the 30 plus scans, tests, and cancer markers I was tested for in depth, and I got to ask all my pressing questions about my health. Now time to visit the gynecologist and do a pap smear, and I was like, cut the cameras. After that, ophthalmology, the doctor said, okay, this is how you see now, and this is how the world should look. Turns out I have astigmatism and your girl needs glasses. Then you'll normally go to a dental examination, but I actually just did one, so we skipped it. Now cardiology, so I did a stress test and a chest ultrasound, which may have been my favorite part of the entire day. I got to see my heart beating in my chest. It was incredible. This is why I love health tourism, because I would never be able to afford this level of care in the United States. And this entire full day package only cost $810. Personally, I'd rather spend $700 on a flight to Turkey, get dozens of tests there, and take a whole vacation than spend the thousands that this would have cost in the United States.
So in that video, we follow Bryn Elif, who is a TikToker. She might have a YouTube channel, I'm not sure, but she's pretty known for health tourism and beauty tourism. On her TikTok page, she has a dedicated playlist for health tourism and beauty tourism where she talks about different countries she's traveled to, such as Turkey and I believe a country in Asia, where she travels there either to get health things done or to get beauty things done. Now, in this particular video that I showed you guys, she went to Turkey to get a lot of healthcare things done. In the video, we saw that she essentially went to a general doctor, she went to a gynecologist, an eye doctor, she got bone density scans. She did all these things in one day just to essentially save money on her trip. At the end of the video, her total is $810. And if I remember correctly, that's equivalent to about $26,000 in Turkish money, which I don't remember the name of, but it's about around there. So that is a pretty high cost in terms of Turkish money. But the American dollar goes very far in Turkey, and that's a big part of the reason why she does this in Turkey. In her TikTok playlist, she mentions that she typically does a health tourism type trip to Turkey twice a year or so to get all of her general needs done. And essentially, she's spending about $1,600 a year to get this done, versus in the US where she might have to spend five to ten to $15,000 to $20,000 to get these same exams and things done. Now, obviously, in the United States, if you have insurance, the theory is that you save money on these kind of things. But insurance comes with deductibles, and also insurance can be very inaccessible. It can be inaccessible because 9 times out of 10, you never find a provider who's actually with your insurance company. At least that's been my issue. Or you might have the insurance, but you don't have the money to pay the deductible because it might be a very high deductible. So, on the outside looking in, I do think health tourism is a really smart idea. Like, it seems great. I love the idea of going to a new country, experiencing their culture, and also having the chance to get some health needs taken care of and get some things done. Also, very similarly, there's beauty tourism, where you would go to another country, such as Japan is very popular, even Mexico City. In Mexico, it's very popular. Turkey is also popular for this, where you might go to another country to get a nose job or go to another country to get hair extensions. Because, as you know, in the US, hair extensions can cost you. I'm not talking about wigs, ladies. I'm talking about like, what's it called? Like eye clips or whatever the girls be getting. I don't get those kind of hair extensions, but I know they can be very expensive here and they can cost up to $5,000. Whereas in Turkey, you can get a hair extension with a bailage, blowout, etc. for $500. So obviously, there's a big interest, especially in women, to travel to other countries to take care of their beauty needs. And I also see a big role as to why people travel to countries for their health needs. Now, the reason why I think it's a little dystopian is because, quite frankly, and you might call me an idealist, I don't think we should have to travel to other countries to get our eyes checked or to get a bone density scan. I feel like what's possible in these other countries should be very possible in our country. Like, it should be possible to go to the doctor and get all these things done in a day and pay under $1,000. Like, it feels like private healthcare is touted as like the king of healthcare, but public healthcare seems to do a lot of good. Now, obviously, in this video, she is doing what I would assume is private healthcare, because it is still pretty expensive in Turkey's standard of money. But I imagine that in Turkey, even if you went to a general clinic, you could probably get a lot of these things done for less of the price of what Bryn paid. It seems like for Bryn, a big part of the reason why she chose this place is because they're open to international clients, which not all hospitals might will do that. And they also have a cafe and stuff like that that makes it worth going for the whole day. Regardless, I think that it'd be awesome if we had something like this here. It would be awesome if we could save so much money on taking care of ourselves. And I think a lot of things would be different. Like right now, we are seeing in America, and not just America, but even in other countries as well, a lot of people are not having kids, at least not as quickly, or not as fast, or not as many. I think back then you'd see some people have 2 to 4 children, and nowadays it's more like 1 to 2. And some people are also opting to go childless, which could be a whole other video in itself. And a big part of that is a lot of people feel they can't afford it. Now, you probably don't know this, but if you were to give birth in America, depending on what state you're in, it could cost you upwards to $50,000. They charge you for literally everything. They charge you for holding the child. They charge you for needing medication when you give birth to the child. They charge you for using toilet paper after every time you use the bathroom. Like, the American healthcare system will charge you for everything and then criticize the public for not having enough kids. How are we supposed to feel encouraged to have kids if we can't afford them? And I think it goes the same for anything. I think right now we're living in a health crisis where a lot of people either are unable to take care of themselves well because of living in food deserts or XYZ, or people go to the extreme and they take care of themselves in the extreme, and they're being criticized by the government or by the FDA and XYZ about the fact that America isn't healthy enough, but it's not accessible to be healthy in America. So to me, it just does feel a little dystopian that in order to be healthy, we have to travel to other countries. So, to be clear, I don't disagree with health tourism, but I think it's actually just really interesting. And I do think beauty tourism is great and something that I would do. Like, I would be very interested in going to Japan and getting facials there, and maybe even, I mean, I don't know. Japan's popular for a lot of things. I hear they have great nose jobs and great chin lifts, which I don't want either of those things, but I would be very interested in going to Japan and just seeing what I could get done for a fraction of the price because they are great over there. I also heard Russia is really great in terms of beauty procedures such as lash extensions or even just manicures, pedicures. Something that would cost 100 to 150 to $200 here costs like 15 to 25 to $50 in those countries. So I get the appeal and I get the hype. Now, the only con that I could think of, and this might not even be a valid con, and I say it's not valid because I've done research and it's kind of hard to determine if beauty tourism and health tourism has a negative effect on these economies. The reason it's hard to determine is because right now inflation is going crazy. And if you live in America, you probably feel it. Milk that used to cost $1 costs like $3 now for the same gallon. So inflation's going crazy. And as the American dollar inflates, we see the effects of inflation not just in the American economy and but in Turkish economy, in the Japanese economy, we see the effects kind of ripple to other countries. So the reason I say that is, in theory, some people do feel that when Americans or tourists either come to other countries to get these things done, or when they move to other countries to live there permanently, that it negatively affects the economy, it introduces gentrification, XYZ, which could be true, but it's hard to prove due to the fact that we're living in a financial crisis in terms of inflation. So I think that's an interesting theory, and I am just very excited to kind of see how the economy plays out. Obviously, it doesn't sound great. Like, who says, oh, girl, I'm excited to live in a recession? I'm not excited to live in a recession, but I'm interested to see how things are going to go, because that's kind of where we are right now. Now, obviously, a big part of life in America right now is politics, and we are in an election year. I'm not going to encourage you to vote for anybody, but I am going to encourage you to get out there and vote. I think who you vote for, it affects a lot of things. It affects healthcare. It affects uh, our finances. It affects how they decide to give aid to other countries and how our taxes are used and XYZ. You may feel like right now your vote does not matter, but I promise you, your vote matters. Not to be like, you know, not trying to push voting on you, but I do want to encourage you guys right now to get out there and vote when voting season comes around, and to also just do a lot of research on your candidates and who you're voting for and what they're pushing, because right now we're seeing a lot of things changing negatively um in our society, in American society. And obviously American society has been on a downturn for a long time, but I do think change is possible. I do think it's very possible for us to fight for our country here, to fight for healthcare rights here, to fight for access here, and to just get things better here so we don't have to fly thousands of miles just to get our eyes checked. But that's just me though. So if you made it this far, I want to thank you for watching this video, and I would love to encourage you to like and subscribe. I have a question for those of you watching, and my question is, would you participate in health or beauty tourism? If you would, what country are you going to? What procedure or what thing are you getting done when you get there? As always, I'm so happy that you're here, and I can't wait to see you next time. Bye, babies.